The whole Thomas and Friends Steam Team concept? Absolutely not. More like just simply having the main cast be the main cast and then various other characters staying in Timothy's sheds. Or just simply having random characters doing stories and not being forced down your throat in general. The whole concept of the whole, like, oh, the main group, we are the Steam Team or whatever, is just some garbagey, gimmicky, dumb sounding thing. I never liked the sound of it and all, and heck, even during the Brenner era, they were shoving it, well, not shoving it down your throat, but even then, it was mentioned by name a couple times. But usually by the narrator, and often in stuff like posters, like, Steam Team, and then just showing, like, the main seven, excluding Toby. Oh, poor Toby. They still kind of overlook you. Heck, even in that Trackmaster set, where it would have had Toby as the main role in the episode and all, they just gave it to Thomas. Typical baby blue Thomas getting shoved down your throat in every single thing ever, just like in like season 19 and 20, which is forgivable in 20, but yeah, not as much in season 19, but and then of course in stuff like Journey Beyond Sodor and The Great Race, yada yada. And then you have to bring up the concept of The Great Race. It should have been about Gordon's storyline instead, but that's a whole story for another day. Anyways, I've never liked the Steam Team concept because, well, for what it is, it's gimmicky, and it just doesn't really fit Thomas and Friends. It feels like something that was simply created for merchandise and to help remember the characters. I always knew that the main cast was like the main cast, the main 8 or whatever it was. And yeah, as a kid, I didn't need some Steam Team name or concept to help me remember the characters and all. This is the problem, is that Mattel constantly thinks that kids won't remember the characters. I would, as a kid, I would remember characters like Dennis and Billy and all, even though I only saw one or so pictures of them in merchandise pamphlets. And that's all I knew of them, and I was able to remember them, and like, when me and my mom would like sit in the car naming characters like Edward, Billy, Hank, I would be able to list them all down. And you don't need no Steam Team concept to help kids remember that. And if they do, then I'll just say that most of modern day kids are really stupid. Unlike me as a kid, where I was able to remember nearly every single character in Thomas that I knew of. And also, there's something about it that just feels passive aggressive and just kind of annoying about it. Because, like I said and all, you don't need some main group to be like all this, like, oh, this is the thing, kind of, yada yada yada. Just simply having characters like Donald and Douglas, kind of, and even in Tim with Sheds in the older series and all, you won't need every single one of the 7 engines to stay there and all. Some engines could stay somewhere else from time to time and all, like Gordon couldn't be there. Maybe James and Edward weren't there, they're at the station or something like that. Maybe Duck is staying there, Boko, for crying out loud. They could do this and it would be perfectly fine, but no, they constantly do it just so that it's just the main cast and all, and it's very annoying. Plus, they often kick off characters like Edward and Henry to replace them with Nia and Rebecca. We're the Steam Team, and you care about us too, Nia and Rebecca. Yeah, I cared more about flipping Billy than you, Nia and Rebecca. They introduce all these new characters and think that kids will be more, intrigued with them than characters like Edward and Henry and all. I'm sorry, but people don't care about Rebecca. Especially not Nia. But you know what's even worse? Is when they specifically say Steam Team in the show and all. Now once, and I think it was the missing Christmas decorations, they did say it by the narrator and all. It was fine, I guess. It was kind of dumb sounding, but I still liked the episode. But then, there's this.
I'm Ruth. Hi, Ruth. My name's Thomas, and this is Percy and Rebecca. Hello.
Hi, Ruth. I don't like you.
We're part of the Steam Team.
Ugh! We're part of the Steam Team! Ugh. God, does it sound stupid. I think Thomas being the narrator himself, but then being aware that the Steam Team is a thing. God, that's stupid. Anyways, yeah, the whole Steam Team concept sucks and it needs to end. Plus, I'm clearly not the only one who feels this way. The Unlucky Tug says that it's very restricting, and then when you limit yourself to this group of characters, it becomes redundant, and that's why people are complaining we need different characters to have the spotlight, like Donald and Douglas or others. When you constantly shove down the main 7 or 8 and all down our throats, it gets very annoying. And also, there was a video called Big World, Big Disaster by a guy talking outside into the camera and all. I can't remember the guy's name, but even he said, it shouldn't be a concept anymore. And I fully agree. You know who likes the Steam Team concept? Mattel, Diantha, Susan Wojcicki, all Toyota Prius, and all Fortnite characters. And you know who hates the Steam Team concept? Me, the guy I was just describing talking into his camera, the unlucky Tug. This guy who, whatever his name is, Driver 3 Joe, and plenty of other fans. We all wish that this whole Steam Team concept would just end and be a thing of the past. End of rant.